Hi everybody. All right, tonight I'm going to make a little video to help you out with your homework. We are learning how to substitute values for variables. Okay, now remember that every variable is just a placeholder for a number that we don't know. So when I have an expression like this here on the left, 5x times x plus 7 in parentheses. Okay, this x is just, like I said, it's just something that we put for a number that we don't know what it is yet. Okay, it could change. It could be anything. Now, when we're substituting for variables, so for example, here it says, what is the value of this expression when x equals 4? Okay, so what we're going to do is this x is not going to be a placeholder anymore. We're going to replace this x with the 4, and we do that by substitution. Okay, and then we can evaluate this expression. See, before we know what x is, we can't get a value for this expression. We have to be told what x is, or solve. Okay, so here we go. This is substitution in a nutshell. All you do is write down your original expression, but instead of x, you're going to write parentheses and the value for x. So this becomes 5 times 4. And I'm going to do a double parentheses because I'm taking out this x, and in parentheses, I'm going to replace that with a 4. Close my parentheses. Now this I need to evaluate. And here we're going to do order of operation. Okay, so left to right multiplication. Actually, parentheses first. So inside these parentheses, I can add 4 plus 7 and get 11. 5 times 4 is 20. So now I'm multiplying 20 times 11, which is 220. Okay, so all we did was we replaced the x's with 4s. Make sure that whenever you take out a variable, you put a parentheses and then the value in its place. Okay, so whenever you substitute for a variable, remove the variable, parentheses, place the value inside. Okay, let's do a couple more. Let's try this one. 3d over 2d plus 5 with d equal to negative 10. All right, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to write this exact expression, but instead of d, we're going to put parentheses negative 10. So I'm just substituting negative 10 in for every d I see. Every d. Here I've got 2. Okay? So then we go 2 parentheses negative 10 plus 5. And now we just need to evaluate this. 3 times negative 10 is negative 30. That's going to be my numerator. On the bottom, I've got 2 times negative 10 is negative 20 plus 5. Negative 20 plus 5 is negative 15, so I've got negative 30 over negative 15. And this simplifies to negative 30 divided by negative 15 is a positive 2. Okay, let's see here. So after we substitute the value in for our variable, it's just really a matter of doing arithmetic. Okay, you're just doing order of operation. Here I did the multiplication here, I did multiplication down here, then I added the positive 5, and then finally I divided everything up. Okay, answer is 2 there. Okay, now sometimes you'll see things that have more than one variable. So let's do this one. We've got b squared minus 4ac with a equal to 6, b equal to 4, and c equal to negative 2. Okay, so again, nothing special. We just have to make sure that we're plugging in the right values for the right variables. So I'm going to write this expression again. It's not an equation, no equal sign. So in place of b, I'm going to put 4. So I'm going to put a parentheses 4. Now whatever was happening to b is now going to happen to this 4. So it's going to be squared. Minus 4 times, let's see, a, parentheses, 6. C is going to be parentheses negative 2. All right. So order of operations says I square this first. 16 minus, let's see, 4 times 6 is 24, times -2 is a -48. Okay, so what I'm really doing here is adding 16 plus 48, which gives me, so 64. It's been a long day. I can't do that that fast in my head. All right, yeah, it is. 16 plus 48 is 64. Okay, and that's really all there is to it. Just make sure that you're substituting the right the right values in for the right variables. Okay, 4 squared, I plugged in the b, squared that, and then it's just order of operation. Okay, I'm going to do one more. This is about as difficult as you'll run into in your homework. X squared minus 3xy over z minus 2y squared. Okay, with x equal to -2, y equal to 3, and z equal to 8. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to need some room here. Let's just squinch this down a little bit. Just squinch it just a little bit. All right. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite the original expression, but I'm going to replace my variables here. So instead of x squared, I'm going to have a parentheses -2 squared minus 3 times, well, instead of x, I put parentheses -2. And instead of y, I'm going to put parentheses 3. Important to note, I didn't say this up until this point right now, but when you have two numbers next to each other and the only thing separating them is parentheses, those numbers are being multiplied. In fact, the more math you do, the less often you actually see multiplication symbols. Usually you just see this. Yeah, that's the quickest way of writing multiplication there. Or I shouldn't say quickest, but the most common way of seeing multiplication after a while. Okay, let's see here. Z is going to be 8. Let's be consistent. Parentheses, take out the Z, parentheses, put Z 8 in its place. Minus 2, parentheses, Y is going to be 3, and that is being squared. All right, now it looks like a handful. It's really not that bad. We just have to go through and do the operations. So -2 squared first is going to be 4. I'm going to do the numerator first. 3 times -2 is -6. Times 3 is -18. So I'm subtracting -18, which essentially cancels out and gives me 4 plus 18, which is 22 in my numerator. Okay, down on the bottom, I've got, well, let's do the 3 first. So I've got 8 minus 2 times 3. See, now this is where you make mistakes, or where I made a mistake. Y was supposed to be squared. For some reason, I tried to raise it to the third power here. Now, let's fix that. So this is going to be minus 2 times 3 squared is, whoops, minus 2 times 9. Okay, so 8 minus 18. 2 times 9 is 18. 8 minus 2 times 9. 2 times 9 is 18. Subtract that from 8 and you get a -10. Okay, almost there. 22 over 10 is going to be -11 over 5. Positive divided by a negative is a negative. So this is -11 over 5. And that would be your final answer. Let me just double check, make sure I didn't make any mistakes. Let's see. I plugged in a -2 here. Now it gets squared. -2 times -2 is a +4. Okay, I should note that. Let's see here. -3. Yep. Plus 18. Good. All right. We've got 8 minus 18 is -10. Good. All right. Looks good. So that's about as complicated as it gets this year. And you know what? Let's do one more. I'm just going to make this one up on the spot because I'll tell you what. sometimes they can get just a little bit trickier. What I'm going to do here is, instead of having all whole numbers, let's do one that has some fractions. So I'll make one a whole number. Let's make x3. Let's make y. Let's make y 2/3. And do I want a fraction here? Sure. Let's make z 3/4. Okay. Just nasty. Okay. This just got nasty. All right. Now let's do this. So instead of x, we're substituting again. I now have my values for my variables. So I'm going to take out the x, and in its place, parentheses 3. What was happening to x? It was being raised to the second power, minus 3 parentheses 3. This is an x. This is a y, which is going to be 2/3. Oh, that's not so bad. That's going to cancel out. Okay, and then in place of z, we're going to have parentheses 3/4 minus 2 parentheses y, but instead of, or y squared, but instead of y squared, we're going to have 2/3 squared. Okay, all right. This is going to be a little bit of a, it's going to take some doing. So let's just go ahead and do the numerator. This is 9 minus, let's see, 9 times 2/3 is, 9 times 2/3 is 6. So this is 9 minus 6. Oh boy, do I want to, minus 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 2/3 is 6. So this is going to be 9 minus 6 is equal to 3. Okay, now the bottom. 3/4 minus, first thing I need to do down here is I need to square this. Okay, so 2/3 squared is 4/9. I'm going to be multiplying this times 2. This is not 2 and 4/9. This is 2 times 4/9. Okay, so this is going to give me, it's getting a little messy. It's hard to do in this little small amount of space. So down here, I've got, this is going to be 3/4 minus 8/9. And I'm just going to take this aside and do this. 3/4 minus 8/9. Oh, I need a common denominator. This is going to be equal to 27 over 36 minus 32 over 36. I needed a common denominator with a 36 in the denominator because the least common multiple of 4 and 9 is 36. I multiplied this fraction by 9 over 9 to get 27 over 36. Multiplied this fraction by 4 over 4 to get 32 over 36. Now I can subtract, and I get negative 5 over 36. So now this was my numerator. This is my denominator. So I have something that looks like this. 3 over negative 5 over 36. Now I hope you're not too worried about this, because all we're going to do is divide 3 by the fraction negative 5 over 36. And it looks a little something like this. I'm going to flip negative 5 over 36 to negative 36 over 5. Multiply across. We get 108, negative 108 over 5. One more line. Here we go. Scrunch it down. Move it a little bit. Forget about this piece. We're still chugging along. Okay, so 3 times negative 36 over 5 gave me negative 108 over 5, which if you wanted to simplify this, you could. It's equal to negative 21 and 3/5. Now, of course, I usually accept improper fractions, but in your book, your answer would look something like this. I don't think they give you one this hard in the book, but I just wanted to show you what to do when you have fractions, especially fractions inside of fractions. Okay, so if you ever get a problem like this, where you've got a fraction on top and a fraction on the bottom of another fraction, just divide those two things. You know how to divide fractions. That's all there is to it. Okay, any questions with this? Please let me know the next time you see me. All right, good luck.